Top stories from around the island. To the point. Without the fluff. Puerto Rico headline news. Please subscribe and don't forget to hit the bell notification.
A very important audit that detailed the whereabouts of containers that held donations for victims of Hurricane Maria has gone missing. The results of this audit was one of the reasons why Raúl Raleigh Maldonado Nieves, son of the former Secretary of the Department of the Treasury, Raúl Maldonado Gautier, called the then Governor Ricardo Rosselló corrupt and inept. Unfortunately, the missing documents occur at a time when Puerto Rico faces another natural disaster with recurring earthquakes and aftershocks to the south of the island since December 28, 2019. Citizens have not forgotten how tons of government-handled donations never made it to those in desperate need. In fact, the audit, along with pictures, revealed that many of the much-needed supplies were never delivered and were instead abandoned to rot. This has led local citizens to personally deliver their donations to the municipalities of Guayanilla, Ponce, Peñuelas, Yauco, and Guanica, and ignoring government requests for the aid to be turned over to them. Despite the fact that the government of Puerto Rico is urging citizens to channel all aid through them, ordinary citizens, nonprofit organizations, and even artists continue to personally deliver the much-needed aid. Even urban artists known as Bad Bunny made a call contrary to that by the current administration of Wanda Vázquez by saying, "Important, remember not to donate money or food to government entities." This call led to traffic slowdowns this past weekend as people headed south to personally deliver aid to those affected. These grassroots citizen-led efforts have already had a positive effect in providing immediate relief to the area. On the other hand, those waiting on the government, like the mayor of Peñuelas, Gregory Gonzalez, denounced that his municipality had been forgotten by the central government, although it was one of the most affected after the 6.4 magnitude earthquake. In his complaint, he said that he lacks basic necessities such as cots for victims to spend the night on. In response, the governor, at a press conference, urged the mayor to follow the procedures in order to obtain the required help. The controversy surrounding the delivery of supplies is not limited to just the governor. Resident Commissioner Jennifer Gonzalez and the Mayor of Bayamón, Ramon Luis Rivera, are accused of politicizing this crisis when a photograph showing bags of supplies with logos of the municipality of Bayamón and the resident commissioner was revealed, along with the motto, "Unidos por el Sur," United for the South. After much criticism, the commissioner responded to the attacks by saying that it is important for me to know that what is being collected is getting delivered, and the only way to know if it was delivered is to identify who sent it, and yet the most important thing is that the help arrives. The missing audit included many details regarding the lost supplies meant for Hurricane Maria victims in 2017. It documented how containers with supplies from the United for Puerto Rico effort collected at the State Election Commission's office were diverted to a farm in Toa Alta instead of reaching hurricane victims. This farm is owned by an activist of the New Progressive Party, PNP. For the past few months, Noticel, a local news agency, has contacted the Ministry of the Interior, the Department of the Treasury, and even Raúl Maldonado Gautier on multiple occasions, but none of them or their representatives have been able to provide the missing audit. If the document does not exist, this would indicate that officials may have invented the results in order to appease public opinion. Continuous requests have been made over the last 4 months, but the best these public agencies can do is confirm the requests and then later deny that they ever received a request at all. The document that contains the findings of the audit of the containers, entrusted by the then Secretary of the Interior, does not appear in the archives of the Office of the Ministry of the Interior, despite multiple efforts to find a copy of it. In the interest of obtaining the file, a request was made to the Department of the Treasury, but the file is also not filed in its records. However, the Department of the Treasury made a request for the document to the accounting company responsible for conducting the audit. At the moment, the file has not been provided, said former press officer of the Ministry of the Interior, Carixia Ortiz Serrano, via email in August 2019. Raúl Maldonado Gautier, for his part, indicated through his lawyer Mayra Lopez Mulero that he never had a copy of the document because it belonged to the Office of the Ministry of the Interior. In August 2018, newspaper reports revealed that 12 containers were missing, which were used to transport supplies on the island, while under the custody of the National Guard and the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA. The containers found also contained toys left over from the Fiesta de Reyes that year, organized by the Office of the First Lady, Beatriz Rosselló. At that time, the then Secretary of the Department of Justice and now Governor, Wanda Vázquez, refused to investigate because the National Guard had clarified the matter through a press release. This decision won her much criticism from the President of the Senate, Thomas Rivera Schatz. However, the former Secretary of the Treasury ordered an investigation by means of hiring 2 firms with certified public accountants to ensure that the process of delivery of supplies was correct. Through the then press spokesman of the Secretary, Ileana Rivera Delis, it was learned that it would be BDO of Puerto Rico and Robles and Associates, LLC, who would be responsible for the investigation. These were the same auditing firms that attended the Office of the Interior, which was also led by Raúl Maldonado Gautier at the time. Along the way, the Treasury confirmed that only BDO was left with the responsibility of investigating. Ironically, a company that was also being investigated by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI. A few months later, the president of BDO, Fernando Scherer Caillet, was arrested and charged with participating in an alleged corruption and fraud scheme in the Department of Education and the Health Insurance Administration. Among the findings, Noticel was told that the task of investigating was ordered by Raúl Maldonado Gautier in his position as Secretary of the Interior, but was allegedly not processed by that office, but instead from the Treasury. However, the Registry of Contracts of the Office of the Comptroller of Puerto Rico does not show any contract granted for these purposes by the Office of the Governor, which groups all the offices of La Fortaleza or by the Treasury. The contracts that BDO had at the time with these entities did not show amendments or changes to include these additional functions. In his account, Raleigh Maldonado Nieves said he was present at a meeting in La Fortaleza with his father, with the then Governor Ricardo Rosselló and the president of BDO. At this meeting, according to his statements, Rosselló requested that the audit be modified regarding the delivery efforts of United by Puerto Rico so as not to harm the First Lady who led that initiative. Today, they tell lies. Zero tolerance. I will present my evidence. Governor, tell me if we were not in your office meeting with the president of BDO and you asked that the report be changed regarding United by Puerto Rico because it would affect your wife. Talk about the checks that are in the drawer. I didn't say it, that you are corrupt, because there is no excuse like before. If you didn't know, then you were inept. It is very different because as governor, you had to know. You are not inept because you are corrupt. Raúl Maldonado Nieves explained on his Facebook profile. His statements came after his father was fired by the ex-governor who alleged in a radio interview that the Treasury had an institutional mafia. This would be at least the third audit ordered related to the delivery of supplies by the then First Lady. The Treasury directed another audit on a collection center run by the First Lady in the Puerto Rico Coliseum Jose Miguel Agrelot, also under the name United for Puerto Rico. BDO conducted an audit of the nonprofit entity that was born from this initiative, Together and United for Puerto Rico. For its part, the BDO analysis, who until May 2019 was listed as the main government consultant, pointed to the office of the First Lady as the one responsible for the creation of the nonprofit organization United for Puerto Rico, as well as for the first phase of delivery of supplies after the passage of Hurricane Maria. The conclusions of Maldonado Gutierrez in his memorandum only took into account the information provided by officials of the EEC, as well as personnel of the National Guard, responsible for transporting the trucks or hiring private cars for their transportation. The dozens of containers were delivered to the Crowley and Tote transportation companies, respectively, after distributing supplies among schools, municipalities, nonprofit organizations, and government agencies. Both agreed that the operation of receiving, handling, and delivering supplies for victims was delegated to the office of the First Lady, which in turn represented the government of Puerto Rico, and in turn conflicts with the explanations offered by ex-Governor Ricardo Rosselló. Given Maldonado Nieves' assertion that the delivery of supplies was stopped at one time for political reasons, Ricardo Rosselló stressed that his wife's role in the efforts was not an administrative one, but she only acted as a spokesperson. This, and for many other reasons, have resulted in a general distrust of the Puerto Rican government, of not only its citizens, but of the federal government of the United States as well. Thanks for watching. Please support this channel by subscribing, liking, and sharing our content. We look forward to providing a live English-based newscast in the near future for Puerto Rico Headline News.